Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I'm super excited to announce the release of my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. If you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level in 2021, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD. All right, all you positive heads, welcome, welcome. Here we grow again. It is a fantabulous Friday here in the studio as I record. And, well, actually, I'm not in the studio. I'm at my parents' house. And I didn't bring my microphone, as you may hear, my normal fancy schmancy microphone, but hopefully the vibrational sound waves are coming through clear enough for you. It's about the message, right? Most of all. And yeah, I have a good one for you today. I have one that I was actually just talking about with my mother, talking about, and even my father last night. It's just been something that's come up a bit. So I just thought I would expand on it in today's episode. And it's this idea of how fleeting life can be, how quick life can be. You know, my dad was talking about how he is the age that is, or about to turn next month, the age that is the life expectancy in our country. Like, oh, that feels a little weird. He was saying he heard, you know, the life expectancy of the average American is my next birthday. And anything after then is like, you know, kind of borrowed time, right? You're one of the lucky ones to go beyond that average. And it really is. I mean, we've all seen it as we, you know, when you're a child, it seems like, you know, each birthday is monumental, the difference and change in time that passes between it. And then as we get older, the years kind of tick by quicker and quicker and quicker. It's like a speeding up. And we do know that time is relative too, right? So it makes a lot of sense. And, you know, for me, even the show, 7 years. I've been doing this show 7 years last month. And wow, I mean, what a whirlwind. And it's you know, the years tick on by, and have we done what we came here to do? Are you on track, you know, with your soul's greatest and grandest timeline? Well, I think one of the keys to getting on track from this now moment, hearing these words forward, is to, as Eckhart Tolle said, to die before you die. He talks about death and, you know, what that process is like. Death is a stripping away of all that is not you. The secret of life is to die before you die and find that there is no death. And so, you know, we're all racing to this inevitable sort of finish line of our lives. But what we're going to find, I think what Eckhart is saying there is actually what death does is it strips away all that is not you, all the things that are in the way of you being fully, you know, you think of your higher self embodied and what that must be like. And that's essentially what the death process is like in a lot of near-death experiences, right? They're like, oh my gosh, I instantly felt no anger, no fear, no pain, no, you know, fully expanded and joy and peaceful. And so many people even come back from near-death experiences depressed because of that. And so death really strips away all these barriers, the human barriers between, you know, that sort of keep you from being your greatest and greatest, most expanded, you know, self. You're what you are by default in the non-physical, according to all accounts that I've heard, pretty much. And so how do we embody as much of that as possible while we're still here? It's so short and so fleeting and quickening, getting us to the end, right? And the secret, what did Eckhart mean by die before you die and find that there is no death? If you can have an experience like a lot of people do, plant medicine is a great way that many people, the ayahuasca, etc., they'll have an ego death, and then it's like they're born anew. They can put down all the barriers and constructs. If you can find a way, that's one path for many people. For others, it's I think a lot of times we get humbled in life, broken down in a sense. I think to help us break down those barriers. And so if you can start taking on the perspective that, like, hold on, all of these challenges are really my opportunity. That's where the opportunity to get the static out of the line between me and my higher self. And so if you can sort of surrender to the adventure that is your life, that is the process of your life, and not feel the need to control it, not get too caught up in all the constructs and ideas about who you're supposed to be and what you are. And I love these pictures. You've probably all seen them, of the galaxy, and then a little arrow pointing to this little obscure point in the galaxy. You are here. I mean, you are literally like a speck on the back of a speck that is our planet, less than a grain of sand from one perspective. And I say that in a good way, like, get enlightened, lighten up, stop taking it all so seriously. Die to all these ideas about who you are, who you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to accomplish, you're behind, all these stories. Let all that stuff die, and just simply being. Learning to just simply be joyous where you are, to celebrate the moment. What's your legacy going to be? To have fun. What do you mean? What is your plan today to accomplish and become more than you can't become more? You're already all of it. It's already you've already won. You've already hit the jackpot. Like, relax. Make your job to be joyous and enjoying. Within yourself, enjoying the process of your ever unfolding life, your ever unfolding journey, including all the obstacles and hardship. Learn to have that grace, that courageous, find that courageous spirit. Make that your job, to find the courageous spirit that has grace in, as Charles Bukowski said, all that matters is how gracefully we walk through the fire. Or I might have gotten that off a little bit, but something like that. How gracefully are you walking through the fire that is your life? What are you making your legacy, your job today? Make it enjoying the day, finding happiness, excitement in the small things, right? You don't have to, be on tour to sell out stadiums to find adventure and excitement in your life. That's the real, dying to the old stories, that there's not joy to be found right around the corner at, in your office, changing your kid's diaper. I mean, there is magic everywhere if we're looking. And if we learn to die to these old stories and get rid of the barriers that we're not enough and we need to accomplish more, you don't need to do anything. Isn't that reassuring and relaxing, that you can just, you are enough just by virtue of your being? You've already made it. You already made it. It's already all within you. But just like the flower that blooms in the right season, there's no wishing, forcing, pushing that's going to make it bloom quicker. You can't force the process. You can't make wine age in 30 seconds and taste good, right? You're like a fine wine going through a process. Instead of holding on like for dear life, like the person we've seen in the front of the roller coaster memes or videos, right? Pictures. Like, instead of just clutching like in pain through the whole process, what if you laughed and gracefully navigated and trusted and had, what all the great spiritual texts talk about, this faith in the process. I don't need to know I don't need to know the outcome. I don't need to know when the flower blooms, but it does. It's inevitable. It happens, My son sent me something the other day, and I love this quote. He said, "Look at a stone cutter hammering away at his rock, perhaps 100 times, without as much as a crack showing in it. Yet at the 101st blow, it will split in two. And I know it was not the last blow that did it, but all that had gone before. This is what the process that you are completely enmeshed in right now. You can't get away from it. And, just keep on doing what you can, the best you can with what you got from where you're at. And that is enough. And let the rest go. And if you can do that, you've really, really accomplished something. I mean, my friend actually sent me something also. I'll read this real quick as well, talking about, a particular man and what his journey was like. And I'll read it for you. The man was born in 1809. In 1816, at age 7, he was forced to work because his family was expelled. In 1818, he lost his mother. In 1828, he lost his sister. In 1831, he opened his first business and went bankrupt. In 1832, he stood in the legislative elections and lost. In 1833, he borrowed money to open another business and went bankrupt again. In 1835, he met a wonderful woman. He falls in love with her. They get engaged, and she dies. In 1836, he entered a dark period of his life, deep depression. He remains bedridden for 6 consecutive months, but he gets up. He gets up, and in the same year of 1836, he runs in the legislative elections and loses again. In 1840, he presented himself as an elector. He loses. In 1842, he met the woman he would end his life with. They fall in love, get engaged, get married. She gives him 4 children, and they lose 3. In 1843, he appeared at the Congresses and lost. In 1845, he appeared again at the Congresses and lost again. In 1850, his son died. In 1854, he ran for the Senate and lost. In 1856, he ran for vice president. He didn't even have 100 votes. In 58, he ran again for the Senate and lost again. And in 1860, Abraham Lincoln was elected President of the United States of America. He was elected for 2 exceptional terms. He was assassinated in the beginning of the second term. He was one of the most respected and impactful presidents in the history of the United States. It's important to tell this story of perseverance because we see the hero, but we don't see this backstage of the afflictions, goes on to say. You need to accept them no matter how difficult. Know that as long as you breathe, your goal will be waiting for you. Great post. And share. Wow. I mean, you talk about, the Chinese proverb, falling down 7 times, standing up 8. So knowing that the process is the goal, the journey is the goal. Die to all the ideas that you're not enough before you actually get there. Start embodying that understanding now, and you are the wealthiest human on the planet. If you can get this and apply this to your life, the results speak for themselves. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm not gonna come back on. I'm gonna share a great little story. It's pretty short, 7 minutes or so, of a guy who had a near-death experience, and in his case, he needed to go through something really traumatic and dramatic in order to see what a gift this guy got. I talk about grace. This guy was really given an opportunity to see from beyond the veil what it's like to die before you die and then come back and get a chance again. Not everyone gets that. I found this on the Shaman Oaks YouTube channel. The title is Man Shocked After Taking His Own Life and Being Shown His Future. Jeff Tolley's NDE, or near-death experience. So take a listen to this. Let's ponder this, and then from there, going to go straight into a song to end today's episode. It is Spooky by Marabou State. Seemed appropriate with Holly Walker on the track. Until next time, journey well. Love you so, so much.
My younger brother at the age of 21 passed away. When he died, that really for me was the end, because we weren't just brothers, we were best friends. My best friend / brother dies, and then it totally ruins me. As bad as I was on drugs, it made it way worse. Now I'm, drugs on steroids. It's just like so horrible. And it just got worse and worse. And eventually it led up to me not wanting to be here anymore. Leaving the body was the only thing that made sense to alleviate the pain. July 17, 2010, I had a whole bottle of narcotic painkillers because I know for a fact this is going to end me. And it was like, I don't know, only a couple minutes. Really, it was very, very quick that everything started to come and just go dark. So it was like trickling in. This darkness was starting to trickle in. And I knew that this is it for me. And then white now started trickling up. I'm looking down at the paramedics. So there is a period of about 20 minutes, I feel like, because the paramedics had to come, they had to be called. There was a time frame that is being blocked for me. For me, it was instantaneous. It was black and then white. And now I'm just there hovering, looking down at my body. Holy shit, I'm dead. Like I died. I did it. Like I died, but then I was like, holy shit, I'm not dead at all. And I am so much better than I ever was. Felt like I was secure and that nothing could ever go wrong. There was no anxiety, no depression, no heartache, no guilt, no shame. All the stuff that I carried in my body was completely removed and gone. I was home. I'm looking down at my body, but we're in an ambulance at this point. I'm looking down at paramedics working on me. This is when just kind of the review started happening. Everyone that I encountered, every single other person, I could feel what I had done to them. I'm feeling their pain. I'm feeling their sorrow. I'm feeling their anger. God, there was a lot of that. I'm feeling that from their point of view. And then I'm also feeling those that I did do good with as well. I'm feeling that joy or excitement or things in that nature, more on the positive side. But like I said, way more negative. There was no judgment. I was the judge, jury, the prosecutor. I was everything about the judge of my own life. It was me judging myself on what I could have done better or could have changed. There was this blueprint of my life and there was challenges put in place for me to overcome. And it was obvious that I didn't pass any. It was obvious that nothing I did actually accomplished anything. And all of these challenges were still there. They were, unfinished. For me, it was just like, I guess not a disappointment, but for me, it was like, oh man, I couldn't even get one thing right on this list. It was obvious that I totally failed. And like I could have done a little better than this. Like if life was the game, I'm very much failed. My younger brother died a year before. He came up to me. He and his bubbly self was like, wow, that was quite the experience, quite the journey, in a very jokingly manner. And then he's like, I want you to come over here. I want you to follow me. Then he brought me into this light room. And this is where there was 3 beings. There was 2 women and there was 1 male guide. So the 2 women, they had like Victorian clothing. And then the guy had tribal clothing. So I do believe that these people were part of the soul family or guides. They did have a glow to them, kind of light energy, but everything out there was light energy. It's just degrees of how bright and how not bright. So they were fair. They were brighter than my brother. They kind of lit up more, and my brother was more kind of dimmed down. These beings told me that you have a job to do. You're not done. You have to complete things. You have a better life that could be waiting for you. You don't have to go back. We're not forcing you to go back, but we highly, highly recommend you go back. From that level, the soul level, there was no choice. It was obvious I'm going back because I just saw how badly I screwed everything up, and I want to go fix it. We have these different bodies, one being emotional, one being mental, spiritual, and physical. The emotional body looked like a blanket, and it was a heavy blanket, a heavy dark blanket. There was memories that lived in the emotional body. I can see flashes of memories. It was like a storm. It really is like the weather system of a body. It was dark and gloomy, and there was flashes of light, and memory was held in the emotional body, not just the mind. So when I saw the mental body, it looked like a donut, like a halo, if you will, but just like a halo that saints have, but mine was dark. It was a dark halo. And it was the same thing. There was this energy flow, like a spinning field of energy around the mind. I didn't really see anything. Like the emotional body was very apparent. Like what was going on there was wild. This just was like a spinning donut of darkness. And then the physical body, it was very dense, of course, because, the physical body takes on toxicity and it was heavy and it just looks sick. And then the spirit body is the electrical system that operates the whole thing. So without the spirit body, you can't even function. These bodies were very heavy and very dense for me, and they just got heavier and heavier. And that I needed to do something about these bodies. I needed to change them. I needed to lighten the load. After that, there was this amazing kind of holographic image that completely surrounded me in this room, and it was my future. And it was like basically the future of Earth. It was very different. It was changed so much that it didn't make sense. Say I was about 50 years old, and you can tell that things were not what they are now. Something big changes the Earth. Like all I wanted to do was die. But now after the NDE, all I want to do now is live. All I want to do now is do my best. Like, it changed me to my core. For me, what really helped me was finding something, finding a purpose, finding something more to live for, finding that meaning. You have to give meaning to life. It's not up to life to give your life meaning. It's up to you to give your life meaning. Our destiny is like the theme we chose to play out in life, but the free will is how, in which way we go about that. So we can go about it rich or poor, right? Or we can go about it happy or sad. So that's the free will. But the theme is like, you're going to overall experience this adventure and you can't get away from the destiny of it. I look at the world in this way that I know my neighbors don't look at it that way. I know the people that I'm around, they just don't see it like that. When you understand where you are, why you're here, and what you're here to do, and you start living that out and really live that out, you are on that true north path. You're on that purpose road. And when you're on that road, that's when that magic happens. That's when synchronicities flow. That's when things start to happen for you. That's when more things show up to expand the level of excitement. And life becomes this exciting, synchronistic journey and more like an adventure. When I was at my pre-life, it was like just a life. I was just living or surviving. I wouldn't even call it living. I call it survival. Now my life is a great adventure. Try to find adventure, because when you start living your life from that point of view of an adventure or something to overcome, and when challenges come, you can look at them as, oh, I'm gonna get through this. I'm gonna defeat this. Not, oh God, I don't want to do this again, right? Then life, it expands on you, and you can be so much happier. Being who I am now is so much better than the way I was. My God.
Also, before we cue up today's song, as a quick reminder, don't forget to download the Golden Key audio or ebook as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the Golden Key code POSITIVEHEAD. And please, if you enjoy my gift, leave a positive review on Amazon so others can unlock their lives with the help of the Golden Key as well.
I say alright. Love is kinda crazy with a spooky little boy like you. Love is kinda crazy with a spooky little boy like you. Spooky. You always keep me guessing. I never seem to know what you are thinking. And if a girl looks at you, it's for sure your little eye will be a-winking. I get confused, I never know where I stand. But then you smile and hold my hand. Love is kinda crazy with a spooky little boy like you. Love is kinda crazy with a spooky little boy like you. Spooky. Love is kinda crazy with a spooky little boy like you. Love is kinda crazy with a spooky little boy like you. Spooky. If you decide someday to stop this little game that you are playing, I'm gonna tell you all the things my heart's been dying to be saying. Just like a ghost, you've been haunting my dreams, but now I know you know what you seem. Love is kinda crazy with a spooky little boy like you.